In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is your spot. I'll have a 3-hour program lined up today. Nick Whalen in 30 minutes. We'll examine the 2 conference finals that we have in the NBA, get his best bets, including some player props. Stanford Steve checking in an hour from right now. He was on site, PGA Championship over the weekend. His observations from there, betting takeaways moving forward, and NBA playoffs with him. And Dennis Bernstein, longtime friend of the show, on the NHL Game 7 that we have tonight, Western Conference Finals as well. And we're locked and loaded here today. We'll get to the Major League Baseball card, spend some time on the hockey and the NBA as well, Paulie. So it is set. Now, here at Circa, the best number that you can find, the cheapest number that you can find on Oklahoma City that I've noticed anywhere, minus 235 to win the series. And it did not go well for this team. Obviously, we'll break this all down in the regular season. Game 1 number tonight, Thunder 6.5 here, 221.5. I have that ticket on the Spurs at 18-1. Haven't really touched it yet. Haven't really gotten involved yet.
Oh, come on. What are you waiting for? You got to lock in a profit here.
I think the Spurs can win one of the first 2 games of the series.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Didn't work out for you last time. You had the Lakers in this situation.
I know it.
And they got swept. These are great quotes in an article on ESPN.com. A assistant in the Western Conference. This is the finals. A West scout. This is the start of another Magic versus Bird. An Eastern Conference executive. This has a chance to go down as one of the best series of the past decade. And it's only the 7th time you got 62-plus wins against 62-plus wins. And this is what we wanted, and we got it. And we'll see if OKC can repeat or if it's Wemby's time. And the fascinating part about going 4-1 against them in the regular season is Wemby was on a minutes restriction coming off the bench and didn't really go off in any of those games. So that's the most impressive thing from that 4-1 stretch in the regular season.
Yeah, but how about this? They were also, you're right. He did not, it's not like Wemby was the reason why they had that pure domination in the regular season, seemingly anyway. But when he was on the court, they were plus 50 in 26 minutes in that. And then you can say, well, what about when SGA, and if you broke it down to when SGA and Wemby were on the court together at the same time, the Spurs were still plus 20 in 64 minutes. SGA won the MVP. He's awesome. SGA is phenomenal. He is not the best player in this series. That's Victor Wembanyama is the best player in the world. And that's tough for me to say with a guy like Nikola Jokic, obviously still running around as well. This guy, we've never seen anything like the guy before. And so what happens tonight when there isn't a minute restrictions, a list for him or that he's on overall, and he's going to go out there and play 38 minutes or 42 minutes if he doesn't go into foul trouble. Like, do the bigs have an answer here for Wembanyama? They did not in the regular season. Those numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm. And an assistant coach in the Eastern Conference said SGA is very good, but he's not a cheat code. Victor's a cheat code. I'll agree with that, too. But it's also only the 3rd time that a team attempted the most corner threes against the team that allowed the most corner threes. And that's the Spurs, and OKC allowed it. And the previous 2 won. So if they're going to knock down threes and they're going to be efficient from 3 like they were against Minnesota, especially in Game 6, and also what they did in the regular season was they dared a lot of these guys to shoot from OKC, and they didn't make them. But they made them in the playoffs, and you also didn't have A.J. Mitchell go off. So he could be the he could be a surprise in this series too.
Yeah, here's what I mean. Think about this for a second. Now, Jalen Williams is going to be activated and in this series for Oklahoma City. He's a phenomenal basketball player. They have not had that dude for a lot of this season, including the playoffs. And they haven't lost yet in the postseason. You have that, and also the aforementioned A.J. Mitchell, who was so good against the Lakers. He had a DNP in 3 of the games in the regular season. 3 of the 5. Big deal? I would say probably. Because if you go back and look, that kid had a really good season, like right out of the gates to begin the regular season, and it's only continued and it's only gotten better. You can now, like, that's where they have the cheat code overall, is that it could be a different guy. It could be one of 10 different guys any given night. Now, the Spurs are deep. They got 8 dudes that they can run out there as well, but nobody is as deep as Oklahoma City.
Well, they also had an easy time of it in the first 2 series as well. Now you're taking on the number 1 defense in the playoffs. That's the other thing. You're going to get a completely different team here than what you've faced so far. So they did go 7 last year with Denver, and Murray was banged up, Porter was hurt, and Gordon was hurt. Maybe that's one thing that the Spurs can point at as well. But the way they played Friday against Minnesota, and how all those guys were knocking down shots and how aggressive they were getting to the basket, that's the team that can win the whole thing. But it's also important that you're talking about a team that only lost 18 games the whole season, but 4 of them were to one team. Right. Maybe it's just a bad matchup.
Could be.
Maybe they are the best team, but when they match up against the Spurs, they give them fits and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, maybe we're going to look back at this when the series is over with, or the NBA season, and it's like, yeah, it was pretty simple. Like, the Spurs have Victor Wembanyama and nobody else does. I was also thinking about this earlier today, based on what you were saying about Oklahoma City going to 7 games with Denver last year. Where does this Spurs team rank compare? Not that it matters, but where do you think this Spurs team ranks compared to the path Oklahoma City had to go through last year in beating Denver in 7 games and then eventually beating Indiana in 7 games?
Spurs are much better.
Not even close, right?
Yeah, I had to go 7 with the Pacers too. Yeah,
but I will say
maybe they lose if Halliburton doesn't get hurt.
Sure, but the Thunder are also better than last year.
By how much? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's tough. But to me, again, it comes down to Fox, and I said it for much of the Minnesota series. In one of the wins, he had 29 points. If that guy's aggressive and he's going to be wide open from 3, he's got to make him pay. Because I have all the confidence in the world in Johnson and Castle and even Harper. But it's Fox who's been inconsistent for much of these playoffs. In one game, he'll be 1 of 7 from 3. In another game, he'll be lights out, and you look up and he'll have like 26 points. So that's the guy that has to show up if they're going to win as well. But you nailed it, though. This is the scary thing, that if the guy was only playing 20 minutes and they were still blowing him out.
Yeah, killed him.
Yeah, and not doing much, now what's going to happen? You know, in this stat I can't believe. When he has played, because you had the elbow in the Minnesota series, and then you had the concussion against Portland in Game 2. When he's played at least 15 minutes, they're 37-3 going back. That's ridiculous. So he is the cheat code for a reason. And you are correct. What it means for his props, and there's a lot of creative stuff up there we'll get to. But to be 37-3, your last 40 when the guy plays at least 15 minutes, maybe they are the best team and not OKC.
Yeah, and I look at their supporting cast overall, and you're right, when you were watching that series unfold against Minnesota, and by the way, that really wasn't even that competitive of a series. Like, they turned out to be clearly the best team there, and it should have been a 5-game series. That's neither here nor there. I'm watching, like, Castle go off in these games, and I'm like, he is probably their second best player. And then I watch Harper, and I'm like, wait a second here. Not only is Harper maybe their second best player at times, like, how many guards can get to the rack with authority as easily as he can, like, going back? Dwayne Wade comes to mind because he was absolutely on a mission, a man on a mission whenever he wanted to get to the rack as a smaller guard. And, well, not so small, but you know what I'm saying. Kyrie or Irving was such a good finisher, but he doesn't get to the rack the same way that Harper does. Like, this kid, it feels like he can get to within 2 feet of the rim and have a shot anytime he wants to. It's incredible the way that he just bullies his body around in the opponent and his ball handling skills. What a pick that was in the draft for the Spurs. They just got everything, man. And you're right, Keldon Johnson. He did He wrote a story in the Players Tribune. Did you see this at all?
No.
He said we had a lot of green flags on the team. Then I realized that there was one big red flag, and it was me. Because Pop eventually asked him to go to the bench early on in his career, and he didn't get it. It didn't make any sense to him. And he finally fully embraced it, and like they know their roles. He's super happy being the guy that he can come in and score 15 points off the bench. And, oh, by the way, win Sixth Man of the Year as a result.
Yeah. He had 25 in one of the wins. And he had another big game in one of the wins, too, 25. That was 130 to 110. But you can point to they're undefeated, and they've been so impressive with sweeps. But the Lakers also helped them out. The Lakers were competitive in that series, and then there were silly turnovers that led to easy baskets. I don't think the Spurs are going to do that, but that's one thing that determined the outcome of the series and this game tonight as well. If they take care of the ball, they're going to be fine. But if they're sloppy and turn it over, no one makes you pay more than OKC. But that was a big problem in the Lakers series where the Lakers were just careless with the basketball, but they did do an excellent job limiting SGA until Game 4. And maybe the Spurs can look at that too. Pack the paint, double him, and leave these other guys wide open from three and see if they can knock down shots, which they couldn't do in the regular season.
How big do you think the overall three-point shooting in this series? It's going to sound like a dumb question in 2026, but I don't think it is between these two teams. A lot of games come down to, well, are they going to make 18 threes or are they going to make 7 threes? Mm-hmm. Like, how big is the three-point shooting in this series? I think both teams are fine not even taking a ton of threes in this series. Oklahoma City is kind of the unknown. And because they can have a game where they go out there and shoot 4 of 28 from 3.
I think the Spurs will take a lot of them, though. And if they shoot about 40%, I think they're going to win. There was no in between with them in the playoffs.
Does Wemby take a lot?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a good price to have the most made threes in the series. That's not a bad price. Stuff that was up earlier today, as much as we don't want to see it, I think he's 5-1. I think he'll try to take. Even if he takes 6-7 a game, maybe he can be the leader.
Some pretty amazing numbers when a team has this much rest going into a game one, and also we'll kick around some conference finals MVP numbers to consider. It's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. I've got something for you that almost feels too good to be true. First, credit where credit's due. If you're listening to this podcast, you're already leveling up your betting game. You're riding along with our best bets and top angles. And when there's a good game on, you're getting involved with a few props and alt markets as well. There's one more layer if you really want to step things up, and that's VSiN Pro. I've mentioned it before, but things are only getting better for our pro subscribers. We just rolled out our MLB prop projections, breaking down some of the best edges across strikeouts, hits, home runs, and more. And that's on top of everything else pro subscribers already get, including public betting splits, expert picks, and betting guides across the sports calendar. If you haven't tried it yet, stop sleeping on it. You can get your first month just $9.99 or save big with promo code POD26 on the annual subscription. Hit the link in the description and start cashing in with VSiN Pro. All right, back to the show.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
So this angle applies to tonight and also game one of the Knicks-Cavaliers series as well. Teams off a week of rest in game one since 2003. 26-11 straight up, 24-13 ATS. When those teams are home favorites, it's 22-6 straight up, 20-8 ATS. Goes back now more than 20 years. And Knicks obviously favored by 7 or more in that game against the Cavaliers, and tonight Oklahoma City laying 6.5. So the whole rest versus rust thing, rest has helped games in their situations going back now. Stan
Van Gundy threw it out there like it was a fact last night that you'd rather be the team that's playing as opposed to the team that had all that time off. I was stunned he said that. Like you'd rather be the Cavs than the Knicks. And he stated it like it was a fact, which I want. I mean, the Cavs just went 7-7 back-to-back series, and the Knicks have been off for 8 days. I'd much rather be the Knicks.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, I think that we can, if it hasn't already been squashed like a zillion times over and over, like the whole idea of momentum, can we please stop that? Because look at what happened in that series. What happened in Game 6 meant absolutely nothing to last night, and also pay attention to the Montreal-Buffalo series in the NHL. Momentum has not meant a damn thing, doesn't really exist, doesn't mean anything. So because SGA and Victor Wembanyama are so elite at what they do, the market right now to win the Western Conference Finals MVP, if it's not one of those two players, well, then bombs are going to go off. SGA is minus 250 at FanDuel. Wemby is plus 220. Then it goes all the way down to 45 to 1 on the next player. Like, look at some of this stuff. Jalen Williams back, and I assume that if he's back for this series, he's absolutely good to go, so there will not be a minutes restriction, and he's going to be okay. He's 60 to 1. Castle is 75 to 1. Fox is 100, and Harper is 300 to 1.
That's outrageous.
Don't you think that? Yeah, that's what I think.
Castle was so good in the Minnesota series, and he was so good in the regular season.
Yeah.
He could win it. He could be. I can't believe the price on OG in the East. He's 32 to 1. He said he's fine, and he said it's not even close to the injury, the hammy that he suffered 2 years ago against the Pacers. Plus, he had all that time off. I can't believe that guy's 32 to 1.
By the way, it's coming down, so definitely shop around. I think FanDuel has 22 to 1 on him right now. He was going to be the guy. In fact, we brought this up when he was 35 to 1 in the series against Philadelphia. The injury probably baked into that number, but also Cat's around 10 to 1.
I'd rather have OG. Cat, maybe to lead in assists.
Well, but there's
11 to 1.
There's absolutely an angle where Cat can be the MVP of this series.
Yeah, yes. But I think OG is so. Cat's not going to score enough points. OG will, and he's been feeding OG.
Well, Cat might lead the series in rebounds and assists. And then he's absolutely going to have a case. And by the way, what do you make of that? Knicks minus 1.5 games, minus 120.
Well, they did a great job, Atkinson and company, with the adjustments in Game 7. Are we going to get the Mitchell who gets everyone involved and is a facilitator? And he was so good doing that and scouting and knowing, hey, they converge on you and Allen and these guys are wide open and you can kick it out to these guys for 3? Or is it going to be more of Mitchell's going to try to score? Because certainly they made all the adjustments, and that was historic what they did. Only the third time in history a team won by 30, Game 7 on the road. But the comeback is the Pistons are who we thought they were. I mean, all those guys were awful last night. Terrible. Thompson wide open, can't make them pay. Robinson was hurt. Harris didn't play well. So it's I would say minus 1.5, but the Knicks are very popular here.
Let me throw this out there too. JB Bickerstaff. We don't know the coach of the year yet.
No Reed? You're going to go no Reed on me?
What is happening?
How does he not play Reed in Game 7?
What are we doing here, folks?
Oh, I couldn't believe it.
Did he lose his... What happened with Paul Reed behind the scenes that we do not know as of right now?
They might pay Duren $35 million a year, too.
Yeah.
It's another thing. I mean, you can't count on the guy.
He is now eligible to get, they said this last night, the $240 million contract. Can you imagine if that pops? Like, who in their right mind would think, hey, yeah, we don't want to lose you now, so we're going to sign you and offer you the $240. What? Well, you can't possibly do that.
That would be right. Also, why is Beef Stew getting so many minutes?
I don't know.
Paul Reed plays like that in Game 5 and Game 6, and he can't get on the floor? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm stunned.
Yep, it's a bad job.
Yep, totally agree. But overall, I think this is a New York series in 6 games or fewer.
Well, it's right there for Adam Silver. This is big. I mean, they haven't made the finals since 1999, and Knicks, whoever, is a monster for him. And that'd be, and I think they have a great chance too, no matter what would happen out of the West. And I credit Jeff Sherman for saying this a couple of years ago. He expects these teams to meet the next 5 years. I think he's right. I don't think there's anything the Lakers, Rockets, Nuggets, anyone can do, because the OKC's a monster, and they're just going to continue to improve with all these picks and assets they have. And the Spurs are ahead of schedule. I mean, they won 34 games last year. They were 60-something to 1 to win it. So I think this is going to be the outcome the next 5-6 years in the Western Conference.
If we don't get injuries.
Barring an injury, yes.
Yeah, what you said earlier, too, another thing I was racking my brain about. This is my most anticipated series in the NBA playoffs since, maybe Golden State, Cleveland in the finals in 2016? Maybe Boston, Golden State in 2022? But I think this series, to me, I'm way more hyped for it than that one. I don't even know what the comp would be. This is an incredible series on paper.
Yeah.
And you were running down some of those quotes in the first segment. Hopefully it lives up to it. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like last night's game did.
Well, it's 5.5 games.
Yeah.
Over minus 160. I mean, you think this thing's got to at least go 6.
One would think.
Has to. Especially after how well they played them in the regular season. They're not going to be intimidated at all. And I think you can throw out the lack of playoff experience now, too. That this is the third round. So I think they're ready to go as well. It'll be a good test tonight, see where they're right at. If they can steal a game on the road, too, that'd be enormous.
Also, I mean, Mitch Johnson, I get it, very young head coach as well. I think he has proven that he is absolutely phenomenal with this team.
Oh, you got Pop helping out, too.
For sure.
That's big.
And I can't say this enough. I mean, again, there's one team with Victor Wembanyama. It's San Antonio. Nobody else has that. Nobody else has anybody close to that. So we're watching absolute greatness. Oklahoma City has it as well. I understand that. But this, individually speaking, I can't imagine we're ever going to get another player like him in our lifetime. Maybe I'm wrong because I thought the same thing about Greek Freak when he was in his prime. I'm like, we're never going to, hold on a second. Yeah, we are. His name is Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
And that was quick.
Yeah. Well, going back to your other question, though, too, I did think the Knicks were going to steamroll them until they showed that in Game 7. Number one, you have to start Max Strus. I don't know why Dean Wade plays, but you just see how dangerous they are that they have so many guys that can score. Problem is they rarely show up like that.
No, I know that.
And Harden up with another Game 7 stink bomb. But Mitchell's a good player. Allen's good. Mobley. Like, if they're all on the same page and they're not, and you get that from Merrill and Strus and they're knocking down shots, then they're difficult to beat. And as everyone said in August and September, it's going to be Knicks, Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, how about that? The 2 highest rated games in the NBA the entire year, the Christmas Day games of Cleveland, New York, and Oklahoma City and San Antonio. The 2 highest rated games the entire year. There's your Final 4. Also, like, I do think, like, Sam Merrill can shoot like that whenever he's on the court.
Yeah.
It's, will he have his chances, and is he going to get enough run? Will he have 10 attempts from downtown in a game? He can be the complete wild card in the series, because that guy can, if we're talking about a series going 6-7 games and you're telling me that Sam Merrill is averaging like 5 made threes a game, I wouldn't be surprised for 1 second. Like, he is an elite 3-point shooter. It's just that he might not get the attempts or enough minutes, and you don't know how it's going to operate and break down with the minutes that they're going to trot those guys out there in individual games.
Well, I'd be concerned that they only played well in a couple of the playoff games. That'd be my concern, if the Knicks could steamroll them.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have gone 7 against Toronto, and you certainly didn't look like one of the best teams in the NBA against Detroit either.
Well, they had, the thing that they had going for them last night is that, and they deserve a ton of credit, obviously, but everybody not named James Harden played well, and give me one player who had a good game for Detroit. There wasn't a single player who had a good game.
No. But that'll be something to look at, too, with assists, because Mitchell was a huge number last night for most assists. And if he's going to kind of change how he plays and getting these other guys involved, then that was 40-1 that cashed. Then maybe he could be a guy to look at with his assist props, too, in addition to Cat.
Mobley had 6 again last night.
Yeah, looking for an edge in baseball betting? Check out the VSiN Daily Diamond, sharp daily baseball betting insight. All season long, it's Jensen Lewis and Dave Ross, lines, totals, props, and futures. Subscribe to the VSiN Daily Diamond wherever you get your podcasts, and search VSiN for the full podcast lineup, everything from the NBA, horse racing, and more. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, and a great job, Eddie O, calling the winner and the exact in the Preakness.
How about that? What a spot with him last Thursday on the show. The most points scored in the Eastern Conference Finals. That could ultimately turn out to be a great race between Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, if nobody else steals it from, right? And Mitchell has had, again, since he came into the league, he has more 30-point playoff games than anybody else in the entire sport. We'll continue, get some thoughts from Nick Whalen. He's going to stop by the show coming up next. We'll get his betting advice for both conference finals and also some player props for tonight. And Game 1 in the East as well coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Much more here now with player props and the series itself. We go out to the Progressive guest line. Nick Whalen joins the program now with RotoWire, and you can catch him along with Jeff Erickson Monday through Friday on a great show called Prop Points, 1 o'clock Eastern time here on VSiN. Nick, thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm great, guys. I'm great. Kind of a letdown of a Game 7 last night, unfortunately, but I think we got probably the optimal series for the conference finals from an entertainment perspective.
Totally agree
with you.
And for this game tonight, anyway, the total has moved up 4 points at some spots, and Oklahoma City did open up like as low as 6 up to 6.5. Now, what do you think about Game 1 overall with the side of the total?
I like this as an underspot, guys. I guess I understand why that number continues to move up. I think you see San Antonio piling up points in Game 6 against Minnesota. OKC played so well offensively in that series against the Lakers. But I do think we see the pace probably slow down a little bit on the San Antonio side specifically. I mean, they've played 2 opponents so far in the postseason that were both top 10 pace teams in the NBA. I mean, Portland especially was playing at a lightning fast pace by the end of the season. Minnesota, another fast-paced team. And OKC, they could kind of chameleon their way into playing any style. They played 2 slower-paced teams so far in Phoenix and the LA Lakers. But I think we see that pace settle closer to the mid-90s. That's more where OKC, I think, would prefer it. And, of course, that would lead to, a little bit of a downturn scoring-wise for San Antonio. I just think both of these teams' strengths lie defensively, right? I mean, OKC is not going to be able to get to the rim like they were against DeAndre Ayton in the second round when you have Victor Wembanyama sitting there. The Minnesota defense, the numbers look pretty good, but I think as that series went along, we started to see some cracks, and obviously OKC is as consistent as it gets on that end. So for Game 1 specifically, I think we get maybe more of a feel-out spot, could see both teams struggling offensively, and if we want to glean from the regular season, 3 of those 5 matchups ended up going under this number. Only one of them really sailed over.
All good points. I also couldn't believe the lack of effort from Randall in Game 6 and Matador defense as well. That was embarrassing. So much has been made of the Wemby-Chet matchup. How do you see that going, and what do you think Chet's going to do in this series?
I think we have to fade Chet Holmgren at least for Game 1, guys. Now his points prop is getting into uncomfortable territory. I was able to grab an under 16.5 yesterday. It's now 15.5 across the board, at least from what I'm seeing. And even the 16.5 was minus 130 to the under. But I think there are a few factors working against Chet Holmgren. First, Jalen Williams is back in the lineup for OKC. And look, AJ Mitchell was basically the number 2 option in that Lakers series. But J. Will being back, he's clearly the number 2 guy behind SGA. So I think that takes a little bit of the offensive responsibility away from Chet Holmgren. We're still going to see plenty of AJ Mitchell in this series, but far more importantly, Chet Holmgren has not played well against the Spurs and against Victor Wembanyama. He was completely neutralized by San Antonio during the regular season. He played in 4 of the 5 matchups, scored 42 total points on 31 shots in those 4 games. So that's less than 8 shots per game. He did have 1 game in there where he was able to kind of bully his way to the line at 12 free throw attempts, but then next 2 games against San Antonio, 2 total free throw attempts. So we'll see if he's able to get out there, splash some threes. He's been a good 3-point shooter so far in the playoffs, but if that's not happening, I don't think we see a ton of scoring tonight from Chet Holmgren.
Okay. Tie that into what you want to do with Wemby as well. It's very easy to sit here and make the case to bet his blocks in every single game. Doesn't cash every single game. To go over anyway, and you're looking at that as an opposite play here as well, right? You want to go under?
Yeah, this is another thing when you look at that regular season sample, and I do want to caution, I know they played 5 times. I know these teams have been pretty consistent roster-wise throughout the season, but it has been a long time since they played. I think it was like January 4th was the last time, but look, it's all we have to draw from. Wembanyama played in all 5 games against OKC in the regular season, only had 6 total blocks in those 5 games. Now, he was on a soft minutes limit during that time. He did not play more than 28 minutes in any of those games, so that's something that we have to take into account. But even in the Minnesota series, when he had, 12 blocks in Game 1, he only cleared this number in 2 of 6 games. I think teams, as series go along, they come out and say, I think it was Jaden McDaniels, like, yeah, we're not going to back down. We're going to keep challenging him. Yeah, easier said than done. OKC is a team that is near the top of the league in the playoffs in terms of driving volume, but I just trust them to make the right decision a lot more than I do Portland, a lot more than I do Minnesota. I don't think they're going to give Wembanyama some of those easy block opportunities. So based on how the regular season went, I think OKC is too smart to challenge Victor Wembanyama when they don't have an advantage. I think you got to lean under on the 3.5 blocks, which I know is a very scary proposition.
Well, what do you think of this prop at Caesars? So you mentioned he was on a minutes restriction, but now we're going to see him play a lot more minutes. Will he score 20 points in every game as plus 325?
Ooh, I like the price on that. 20 points in every game. I'm trying to see, how he did. Yeah. I mean, it's tough because it feels like he's either had these incredible or these like kind of passive offensive nights.
Yeah.
Maybe in this series they're going to need Victor Wembanyama to be, a guy who takes 16 to 20 shots every single night. But the way the Spurs were able to live in round 1 and round 2, I mean, there are some nights when, he's going 6 of 11 from the field like he did against Minnesota in game 6. I don't mind that, though. I really don't mind that because even though OKC has the two bigs in Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, like they're two very different matchups for Wembanyama, I still don't really like how either of those guys match up with him. Like Chet is the better defensive player, but he doesn't have the strength. He doesn't necessarily have even the Rudy Gobert height to kind of bang with Wembanyama down low. So at plus 325, I'd think about that.
I'm with you. How about series leaders? To lead the series in assists, Castle plus 280.
Yeah, this is really the only one that jumped out to me. I was trying to find something in these series markets, and when you have somebody like SGA and Wembanyama, it's like, okay, how do you bet anybody else for scoring or rebounding or things like that? But I did think Castle to lead in assists at plus 280. You can make a case for it. He's not far behind SGA in terms of just raw assist production in the playoffs. He did average almost a full assist more than Gilgeous-Alexander during the regular season. Now, I mentioned this on our show this afternoon. The caveat here is that if you look into the advanced numbers at NBA.com/stats, they will tell you that the Thunder are not converting the potential assists for SGA at the rate that you would expect, whereas San Antonio is converting for Castle at the rate you would expect or even higher. So maybe that changes in this series, but I thought at close to 3-1, that's something I would take a stab on.
Okay. Yeah. Ultimately, how do you think the series is going to play out? Which team do you like? How many games?
I really, really hope this is a 7-game series, guys. This would be one of the all-time game 7s. I think the best value for me is still OKC in 6 specifically. I saw that plus 450 at DraftKings. If you look at the most likely outcomes, if you will, just based on the odds, OKC in 7, OKC in 5 are the two most likely. This just feels like it would be crazy to me if this didn't go at least 6 games. I really believe in the Spurs and their ability to give OKC trouble. I wonder about the 3-point volume, the 3-point shooting for OKC as this series goes along. And look, the over 5.5 games is pretty heavily shaded to the over minus 160. I know OKC in 6 would mean they're winning in San Antonio to seal up the series. I don't think that's a big deal to me. I could totally see that happening. So that's the best value. And another one, guys, that I found at FanDuel I thought was interesting, OKC to be up 2-1 after 3 games plus 105.
All right.
Oh,
I like that too.
Okay.
Well, I think we have to be honest here. While it was a great story, the Pistons were going to lose to the Magic if they didn't choke or if Wagner didn't get hurt. So they had to go 7 with Toronto, and the Cavs also had to go 7 with Detroit. They made great adjustments. 4 different guys scored 20 points. Does that change your mind from maybe it's going to be a Knicks cakewalk to if that Cavs team shows up, maybe we get a competitive series?
Look, I think this will be a competitive series, guys. I do think the Knicks win it. Obviously, there's a huge rest advantage. Cavs are just going to keep going every other day to start this series. It just totally comes down to which version of Mobley and Jared Allen do we get. How many games, like Game 7 last night, do those guys play at that level in this series? If the answer is even 2, then I think the Cavs probably win those 2 games because Cleveland is such a different team when especially Jared Allen is playing at that level. I mean, Towns has been so good for the Knicks in these playoffs, but he's also faced the shell of Joel Embiid, and then Onyeka Okongwu is kind of the only real big man for the Atlanta Hawks. Like, this is the best big man duo by far that he will have faced. And look, if I'm the Knicks, I was rooting hard for Detroit last night. I would have much, much rather faced this Pistons team and just felt like, all right, all we have to do is limit Cade Cunningham and we're good. I know the Cavs are really shaky game to game. You worry about Harden. You worry about the big men showing up. There's just so much more talent on this Cavaliers team. I would be pretty surprised if the Knicks just continue cakewalking their way through this series. And I don't know if this is bad analysis, guys, but the Knicks are on an all-time heater right now, like one of the best 6-game stretches we have ever seen in the postseason. Part of me just has to think like a turnaround is coming. They can't keep playing at this insane level offensively.
No, I don't disagree. I really don't. I mean, at some point, a little regression has to set in. One would think. If not, we're talking about an all-time playoff team then.
Right. Yeah, if regression doesn't set in, then they're going to beat the Thunder in the final.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I would agree with that. Nick, great spot as always, man. Thanks so much, and best of luck tonight and the rest of this week.
I appreciate it, guys. Talk to you later.
Great
Nick
job.
Whalen with RotoWire, and Monday through Friday here on VSiN with Prop Points at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. A lot of stuff there, man. He is emptying the chamber tonight for sure.
I cannot believe at DraftKings, OG is 35-1.
That's a bet.
Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
The Cat's now 12-1.
Oh, that's crazy.
Win, lose next, and we'll touch on that Game 7 tonight in hockey. We'll tell you how totals have gone in this situation going back many years next.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Game 6, Pistons Cavs. Detroit ties a record. Largest road win, Game 6 down 3-2. Paul Reed, 15-plus points, plus 750. You had 10. You might want to play him in Game 7.
Why would you want to?
That guy this has followed him around his whole career. These coaches refuse to play him. I think he's good.
Well, clearly he can play.
I don't get it.
I mean,
goes back to Philadelphia. Doc Rivers wouldn't play.
Of course.
And this guy was buried on the bench. And every time he got out there, good things happened. Harden had the most points, 7-1. Cade most threes, 5-1. Game 7, most assists. Mitchell, 30-40-1. Depends where you bet it. Most threes, Merrill, 10-1.
Yeah, that's a good number.
Cavs to win the series down 2+ games, 8-1.
Well, at what point did you turn the game off last night?
I muted it, but I didn't turn it off.
It was unwatchable.
Oh.
The Pistons were just...
They never made a run. That's the
never
thing.
once. They were so bad, Paul.
Great job by Dan Gilbert, too. Sending 20-plus buses.
Yeah.
And those fans had good seats, too. Nice job. Third team to do that, by the way, to win by 30-plus points, Game 7 on the road. Game 6, Spurs-Wolves. The last 5 games of the series went over. Most points, Castle, 14-1. Most rebounds, Castle, 15-1. Most assists, DeSumo, 40-1. Dead heat with Fox, though. Also, great job, Eddie O, the winner and the exact on the Preakness. WNBA, Friday, the Mystics, plus 330. Yesterday, Dogs went 4-0. Chicago Sky outright 2-1, although I think Rakia Jackson's had a big injury. Toronto Tempo plus 260. NHL Game 6, Sabres Montreal. 13 of the 14 meetings have had 6+ goals between the two.
5.5 tonight.
I know. I can't believe it. Montreal 1-6 off a win. Dahlin first goal 22-1. Premier League, Sunderland 3-1. Fulham Wolves draw plus 275. Leeds plus 260. Crystal Palace, Brentford draw plus 280. UFC, Choi, round 2, 9-1. Diaz, submission, 12-1. Brundage, round 2, 10-1. Artelene, submission, 8-1. Round 2, 10-1. Cagliari, round 3, 11-1. MVP from LA. Rousey by submission, minus 250. 17 seconds? How about the trainer for Carano saying she's going to win, it's going to be embarrassing for the UFC, she's going to be in this fight, she's trained so hard. 17. Well, she lasted longer than Rick Pitino did in the Italian restaurant. But other than that, that was a farce. I can't believe it.
It was quite the spectacle.
Takes her down immediately, and then she taps. She lost 100 pounds? It's a great story.
You know what that was?
Oh.
That's the quick meme or the video of you better call an ambulance,
Yeah,
but
right.
not for me.
I know. Yeah. Oh,
Highway
thank God.
robbery watching that crap on Saturday night.
And Ngannou was minus 750 by knockout. That cashed as well. PGA. Aaron Rai, 300-1 at Circa. 200-1 after the first round. 150 or 100-1 after the second round. Third player since 2008 to win a major at 200-1 or higher. What a comeback.
Oh,
I was on the wrong guy. I was on Cam Smith like you.
Yeah.
And he kept messing around and couldn't make a putt.
Sure. It was anybody's tournament until Rye decided to say, get out of my way. I'm going to take off with this thing. By the way, we know somebody who had a healthy chunk on Rye at 100-1.
Yeah. And he doesn't bet $100 either. He's
no, it was much more than that.
Someone's dropping off a bag tomorrow, as I understand it. Incredible. Subscribe, be part of the team. VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. At Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. Here, got this one? Look at this. My dog's so big, I have to get a bigger pillow. That's awesome. Coming in, the big fellow up there. Give me a hug, huh?
Oh, I
That's
definitely want one of those
Look
pillows
at
for the
I
house.
don't know where he got it from, but that's awesome.
No, it's incredible.
I know. He's got the big fella with the dog. He's like, I got to get a bigger pillow than for him.
I love
and
it.
He comes in. That's great. I love that. That is strong. Dan Goodwin sent this in. It's like, hey, I got a puppy. He's fitting right in, though. I was a little bit concerned. In between the other big dogs, where you can see him there taking a nap.
I didn't even see him on the tweet. I didn't even see the dog.
Isn't that great? Good job, Dan. Got the two, I think, is that a pit? Got two pit bulls, and he was a little worried, but they're fitting right in. He brought the new puppy home. They're all taking a nap together. That is excellent. And imagine you're down the street at Boulder Station hanging out with the table games, and then this happens. Travis Pastrana comes in. You better clear away. I hope they let people know what was going on. He comes in on his motorcycle, hauling ass right through the pit.
Paul, I'm telling you, I watched a video 10 times.
Uh-huh.
Some people in here are absolutely stunned.
Look how fast he's going.
I've seen a couple of different angles. The people were like, wait a second, what is happening right now?
I know. No heads up on that? That the professionals coming through?
Imagine you don't know, hey, I got to get up off my machine real quick and go to the bathroom. Oh, there's a motorcycle in my face.
Yeah. Lose some and a bad beat. The Aces plus 1.5 to minus 3.5. They were up 17 in the fourth quarter and beat Atlanta by 1. Bad beats, Game 6, Montreal team total over 3.5. They had 3 in the first period, didn't score the rest of the game, and the Yankees yesterday up 3 in the ninth. They blew it. Sports calendar never stops. Sharp Plays covers it all. They've been winning for 15 straight years. Documented, logs posted publicly, sharpplays.com. When they move, the book takes notice. Advanced AI, trusted insider intel. They find the value before the numbers shift. Respected, watched, and feared. Start winning with them. Sharpplays.com.
Here's another bad beat from Joseph on X. So he bet Cam Young to be the par 5 winner, meaning to have the best aggregate score on all par 5s at the PGA Championship over the course of the entire tournament. He bet him at 39-1. He was done for the tournament at 7 under. Solo lead. Again, 39-1 here. The only way to lose is if Smalley eagles 16 on Sunday late, and he does. So Smalley goes to 8 under on the par 5s, and actually, what did he even pay? If Cam Young was 39-1 to win that, Smalley must have been a couple of hundred to 1 probably. Yeah. And there is this as well with this Game 7 tonight in the NHL. Game 7 unders since 2021 are 11-5. If you go back a decade, 22-13-4 to the under. But again, every game in this series but one has gone over 5.5 goals.
I don't know how you play the under tonight. I know you're talking about your history, but this is 8-3, 6-3. Got 4 different goalies that played in the last game. They're scoring right away. We've had several of these games 2-1, 5-10 minutes in. You can't trust either goalie for Buffalo. Dobish has been excellent, but he's coming off a game where he was awful and pulled. Montreal's awesome off a loss. 5-0 in the playoffs, but I think you got to go over 5.5. You have to.
I've had
it's crazy. The series has been insanity.
Multiple people have said you need to bet Demidov tonight with the shots on goal prop. Multiple people specifically reached out to me to tell me that. He's 1.5 tonight, juiced over, but you can ladder all the way up to like 5 the way it looks at some books.
And Newhook went over again, too.
Yeah, and
he's only got 5 of the last 6 he's gone over.
And Demidov is 5 plus tonight is 11-1 available out.
What's his history?
Right now, some books. They are... So he's
3
done well.
1, 7, okay.
He's done well in this series as of late, and it's the same number, basically the same numbers as he had in games 5 and 6. And this is the email that we got from Rich in Canada. Again, great pulse of this team. Very confident. He's on fire. He knows when he's on fire, and he gets very confident. So plus 510 for 4 shots, 11-1 for 5 or more, and you can find a little bit shy of 2-1 the way it looks on 3+ shots out of him tonight. Now, this is like, it's the ultimate battle with that total of, do you trust what you've watched for several years now in a Game 7 where it's a little bit tighter, or is it like this, throw it out?
You trust what you've watched this whole series. It's been crazy.
Now, where are you at with either the winner of this series giving Carolina a battle? Have you changed your opinion at all?
I think Montreal can give them a series. The other thing is you're talking about 13 days off. Game 1 is Thursday night.
I know.
That's a sick layoff for Carolina.
It also, I mean, boy, these runs that goalies can go on, good, hot or cold. Dobish was the talk of the town.
I know.
And what the hell happened over the weekend?
Yep.
It's a 3-1 lead before you blink. Oh, see you later. It's 8-3.
I know. Crazy. Just a wild series. But you got to trust your eyes and trust what you've watched here and not history. That rest assured you're going to see. And also, it's an elimination game. So how many empty net goals are you going to get tonight? That's in play, too. You're really taking a chance under 5.5. I'm not going to be surprised if it's 2-1, 10 minutes.
I was going to say, do we get one in the first 5 or the first 10 again?
That keeps cashing, yeah. First 5. How about first 2 minutes?
Like first 30 seconds.
That keeps happening.
Stanford Steve on the program next. He was on site, PGA Championship over the weekend. We'll ask him about some golfers to keep in mind for upcoming events and who he likes in the NBA Conference Finals next here on VSiN.
Quality proteins aren't just for special occasions. With Omaha Steaks, you get unbeatable flavor and value delivered right to your door. They have an unmatched selection of perfectly portioned proteins, including USDA-certified tender steaks, burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, and more. All flash frozen at their moment of peak quality. Then quickly delivered to your door in a dependable cooler. So a great dinner is just minutes away. From Taco Tuesday to a weekend feast. Omaha Steaks practically invented meat delivery, and they've been perfecting the art of premium proteins for over 100 years. With their 100% satisfaction guarantee, you can order with complete confidence. Taste the Omaha Steaks difference, a better, more convenient way to buy proteins. Start getting flavorful proteins delivered today. Visit omahasteaks.com and get $35 off with promo code AUDIO at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, code AUDIO. Terms apply. See site for details.